Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking all the different feats in Baldur's Gate 3 on a tier list. So there's some really great feats, and there's some really bad feats, and I'm going to be breaking them down, talking about my experience, because I've done a ton of build guides on YouTube here for Baldur's Gate 3. So first things first, we got ability score increase. This is probably the best, so we're starting with a good one. It's obviously S tier, so ability score increase. What this does is you get to pick 2 stats to increase, and if you know how stats work in Baldur's Gate 3, that gives you a +1 to your proficiency bonuses. It means you're going to be landing your attacks more frequently. If you're increasing your dexterity, it's going to give you more armor class, and it's going to give you more initiative. Ability score increases are great, and the best ones to increase are going to be your, damaging or spell attack scores, and then also dexterity for the armor class. Even rogues and some other classes, if you're using finesse weapons, will benefit from dexterity, so I think dexterity is probably one of the better ones to increase because you get that plus armor class, but this is obviously just the best one. I don't need to talk anymore about it. Next, we got Actor, which +1 to charisma, and then you double your proficiency bonus on deception and persuasion checks. This is situational. I'm going to put in the C tier for now. It could maybe move somewhere else. +1 to charisma is nice. I would recommend if you're going with 17 charisma with your starting stats, take the Hag's Hair to 18, and then your first ability score increase can take it to 20. But if not, you can use Actor. I just think that there's better perks out there. It's not bad, but just not. There's so many better ones. Next, we got Alert, and I think Alert is an S tier. The reason being, +5 to initiative means you're likely going to be moving be one of the first to move in combat. So if you're someone like a sorcerer that needs to deal spell damage and get enemies off the battlefield as quick as possible so your other units can move, that's very useful. Another huge perk to the Alert is it gives you the ability to not be surprised, which I've actually had some horror stories of people losing their honor mode runs from surprise attacks. So Alert is very useful, especially on honor mode, I would say. +5 to initiative is just great. You always want to have as much initiative as possible because moving first is huge in the action economy of Baldur's Gate 3. Next, we got Athlete. This is a decent one. You can choose to increase your strength dexterity. Your jump distance increases 50%. So Athlete actually works really well on monks, even though monks can already jump pretty much as far as you need them to jump. And whenever you get knocked down, you only use 1.5 meters of movement speed to get back up. Athlete's pretty good. I'm going to put it in the B tier. There's better options, and there is some gear options that will actually give you benefits from Athlete. So well, it is a decent perk. I would say there's probably some better ones. Next, we got the Charger, and Charger's interesting. I tried using it out, and I just didn't love it. It gives you like weapon maneuvers similar to some of the things that you'll get from weapons themselves, and it allows you to shove enemies that are heavier than you're able to shove, which is nice. But again, it just compared to others, it's not as good. I'll probably put it above Actor in the C tier. The moves that you get are useful, but just situational at best, I would say. Next, we got Crossbow Expert. Now, hand crossbows are really strong in this game, and this actually makes this an A tier perk. So Crossbow Expert, if you're close range to someone, this still allows you to attack them with your crossbows. If hand crossbows weren't so powerful, this wouldn't be powerful itself, but hear me out on this one while I'm putting it in the A tier. So if you play as a bard, the sword bard gets slashing flourishes, allows you to shoot your crossbows 4 times, and you can actually, with a slashing flourish with their ranged attacks, you can attack the same target 4 times. So that's actually pretty good damage. Another reason that's beneficial is the sword bard can use the Helmet of Arcane Acuity alongside Arrow of Many Targets, and you can hit a target, it's going to hit a bunch of other targets, and it will increase your spell save DC. And then if you're using Band of Mystic Scoundrel, you can cast your crowd control spells with a spell save DC of like 30. No one's resisting that in this game. So Crossbow Expert can work fantastic on some builds, and even if you just prefer using your crossbows, yeah, go with that. It's pretty good. Being able to deal normal damage at melee range is really nice. And it stacks really well with Sharpshooter, which I'll get into later. Defensive Duelist. This is okay. It's you have to have 13 dexterity to be able to use this one. I'll probably put in the C tier though. Maybe B tier. On a rogue, it can be pretty good. What it does is it increases your armor class whenever you get an attack, and you have to have that high dexterity. It can be useful because it can help you with dodging attacks, and you can use it every single turn as a reaction, which is nice. But I just feel like there's better options for perks, so maybe C tier. The defense that it brings is quite nice, but meh. Next, we got Dual Wielder. Now, this is an interesting one. Dual wielder is probably A to S tier, depending on what kind of like build you're running. So dual wielder will give you a +1 to armor class when you're. I would say it's probably S tier. +1 to armor class when you're wielding 2 weapons. Some builds work really well with the 2 weapons. What this also means is this is actually really good for wizards or sorcerers in particular, because you can dual wield 2 staffs, and the staves can give you like the arcane battery, so you can cast free level 6 spells, and you can hold 2 of them. That's 2 level 6 spells for free. Pretty broken if you ask me. If you have a sorcerer, you can literally cast 2 chain lightnings with those 2 stat sticks. So, and you get a +1 armor class for using it. Most times I prefer having a shield personally, but dual wielder is really great. And it also adds your proficiency bonus to the offhand damage. So, bing, bing, you deal a good amount of damage. It's pretty effective. Dungeon Delver. This is an easy F tier. I feel like this one translates poorly into Baldur's Gate 3 from the tabletop D&D. So what Dungeon Delver does is it prevents you or lessens the damage you take from spells, and it increases your perception to be able to see or I guess traps. I should say traps. It increases your perception to see traps and reduces the damage you take from them. Not a big deal. Traps are not going to end your run. You usually know when traps are coming, and if you play the game once, you already know where all the traps are. So that's, I guess, one thing. But I've taken damage from traps, but it's never been a lot that I haven't been able to just throw a potion on the ground and heal up. So that's F tier. Just not that good. Durable. This is another one that's interesting. Tough and durable both are kind of mid. And what this does is it just replenishes your health on short rest. I'd probably put that F tier. Yeah, you can heal. There's so many ways to long rest in this game that some of these are just very not useful. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, they'd be more useful because long rests are more rare. But in Baldur's Gate 3, you can long rest whenever the frig you want. Like, honestly, you can take a rest at any time. Next, we got Elemental Adept. So what this does is it makes creatures not resistant to damage. Sounds great, doesn't it? But. The 2 best that you'd want to be using this on is lightning and cold damage, which are already going to give double damage from create water. So they don't benefit from this, unfortunately. Now, fire can be useful if you're like, running with a firewall often. Like if you really like that spell, go with the Elemental Adept Fire. I'd say that's probably the most useful one because fire damage is the most resisted damage. One of the most resisted. Poison's the most resisted, but fire is also quite resisted. So I would say it's got some use at times, but very seldom would it be. You're better off going with other ones, so it could be C tier as well. Next, we got Great Weapon Master. I would say I think Sharpshooter's better personally. I'm going to put this at the top of the A tier. Sharpshooter is like the ranged version of this. So Great Weapon Master, when you take out an enemy, you can use a bonus action to make another attack. And on top of that, you also add +10 to your damage, but -5 to your attack rolls. -5 to attack rolls, most people don't think how bad that is, but that's 25% less likely of a chance to hit your attacks. If you take this early on, your hit chance will be really low. It's just a straight up 25% less chance. Now, one nice thing about this, you can toggle it off, but why would you take a feat if you're just going to take it off most of the time? It's good to take later on in the game. Like, that's why I'm still putting it in the A tier. It's really, really good. +10 to damage is awesome. The more damage we can deal, the better. But the hit chance is just kind of annoying at times. Heavily Armored. Yeah. The thing is, Baldur's Gate 3 lets you multiclass. And if you multiclass into a cleric, they get their subclass feat at level 1, which gives heavy armor. So if you take a Tempest cleric, a War cleric, or a Life cleric, you got heavy armor for free for 1 level. And I am a huge fan of doing that because taking a level of cleric will give you some spells. It'll give you a lot of different things and the little feats that come with being a cleric. So if you're at level 12 and you want to take heavy armor, just take a level of cleric. It's so much better. Way better. Or start 1 level with fighter so you get constitution saving throw proficiency plus heavy armor and all martial weapons. Heavy Armor Master, it has its uses. I'm going to put it C tier. It minuses the damage that you take with heavy armor by 3, which is probably the best of all the options that we got here. So I'll put it in the C tier. It's just not amazing overall. Lightly armored, same deal. Mid. The ability to wear light armor just take a level to Cleric. Like, Cleric is one of the best classes in the game because of that. Just take a level Cleric. Lucky. Lucky's pretty good. I want to put it in the A tier. You get 3 lucky die, so anytime you do an attack roll and fail, you can spin another die. It's quite nice. Situational, but it can be good. It's good on a fighter when they get multiple feats if you're looking for something else. Maybe B tier, B to A tier, somewhere's... It's really situational, but the availability of long rest, because there's 3 per long rest. That's not awesome, but we can long rest whenever we want. So use them up, long rest. Use them up, long rest. I actually encourage people to take more long rests because that's when you get your dialogue with your companions. That's important for moving things forwards. Next, we got Mage Slayer, and this is okay. I'll probably put it in the B tier. So if you get... This is where it gets weird, because Mage Slayer, if they attack you from close range, you have advantage on your saving throw. That's not great, because most spellcasters do it from range. No... Like, they oftentimes aren't going to come up in your face and drop a fireball. You also have... they have disadvantage when you attack them on their concentrations, which is nice. Situational, that's why I'm putting in the B tier, because there is some spell... Like, you could respec and take this for certain fights, like Viconia. That's just so much better to have that. But most times it's just not awesome. It's situational, I guess. That's why it's B tier. Now, all the magic initiatives, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, they're okay. Like, it gives you 2 spells from their spells. And, well, it's situational. I'll probably put them, almost all of them, maybe B tier, B tier, B tier, Sorcerer, B tier, maybe B tier. Top of them is Warlock, because you can take Eldritch Blast. Probably something like they're not great. If you want those spells, just play that class. I don't think there's much benefit from doing this. Even if you want like certain spells, take Bard level 10 or a Lore Bard level 6 and level 10 gets their choice of spells. So much better than this. Martial Adept. Martial Adept's okay. I guess with the medium armor master as well. We're gonna just throw medium moderately armored's going there. Martial Adept is just another one of those ones where it's just better to take a multi-class. So if you're going for level 12, I'll probably put this in F tier. It's just not as good as some of the other options that we have. We're getting into some of the stinkers. Medium armor master is interesting. I'm going to put it just below the heavy armor, or maybe somewhere around there. I think defensive duelist is a little bit better in medium armor master. What this does, it's kind of dumb. It takes your armor class increase from dexterity from +2 to +3. Although there's the armor of agility that will just give you your full dexterity modifier, so you can have a +6 to armor class without even having to take this perk. So with that, I could probably put it to F tier. And you don't have disadvantage on sneaking with your medium armor. Again, most medium armors near the end game won't have that, so this is probably F tier, C tier, somewhere's there. Early game it can be okay, but you're better off with a lot of other perks. Mobile. I would say mobile's probably like a B tier just behind. Mobile and athlete are interesting. Mobile's going to increase your movement speed. Maybe A tier. Just the mobility's nice, and whenever you dash, you don't get hit by opportunity attacks, which is nice. It's got its uses. I would say probably B tier though. Performer. Seriously, bro? I would probably say this is an F tier. +1 to charisma, awesome. The ability to use a loot, meh. Take Bard. Like, seriously, if you want to be a performer, just be a Bard. It just doesn't make sense to take this. Polearm Master, though. This is an S tier. Polearm Master is awesome. And it actually works really well with the Sentinel perk. So, what Polearm Master does is you can use, if you're using a halberd, a spear, a quarterstaff, or a glaive weapon, you can use a bonus action to make a butt of your weapon attack. But also, you can make an opportunity attack, and these weapons typically have increased reach. So, paired with the Sentinel perk, which I guess I'll put Sentinel both. These both go together fantastically. I just did a build guide on it yesterday on these two, so go check that out. It's called the Sentinel Knight in Baldur's Gate 3 build. But Polearm Master allows you to do that attack and make an opportunity attack with it. Sentinel will stop the enemy in its tracks. Where this gets to be really useful is these weapons typically have extra reach. So you can reach out and hit them, stop them from moving, and then they can't hit you because their weapon won't reach you and they're stuck in place. So their turn's ending. This makes for a really powerful build. My first playthrough had a class running with this for pretty much the entire game. The game plan, run them to the front, let them opportunity attack everyone, stop them in their tracks. It's really good. It's really, really good. So S tier. Next we got Resilient. This is pretty good. I'll probably put it... Resilient in Constitution's nice because it gives you the proficiency in Constitution saving throws. But you're better off just taking a class that has that, like Sorcerer, or starting with one level of Fighter, or starting with one level of Fighter is nice because you can get a +1 armor class from their fighting style, and also get the Constitution saving throw proficiency, and get all the heavy armors. So with that, it's probably B tier, but it's nice just to have at times. It can be useful. Ritual Caster. I thought I liked this, but I don't. The reason being, rituals are ones that last until long rest. You can actually make someone in your camp just cast these all at camp. And yeah, I'll put in the C tier just because, yeah, Longstrider, fantastic spell. Just have someone at camp apply it to everyone. Or have a ranger do it, or someone that just doesn't use spell slots as much. Savage Attacker. If you roll a 1 or a 2, it gets re-rolled, and you can do another, or you get more damage. It's huge. Anything that increases your overall damage is awesome. It sucks to roll a 1 on a damage die, so being able to just re-roll it is awesome. Some of the other perks don't have that that benefit. Like whenever they use Savage Attacker, what is it? The magic, one of the magic ones I was talking about. It makes it so you can't roll a 1 with damage. But what all that means is you roll a 2 instead of a 1. Whereas Savage Attacker, it re-rolls a die, so that's really nice. Next we got Sharpshooter. This is an easy, I would say, S tier perk. Sharpshooter, +10 to your damage rolls with crossbow attacks. It has the same -5 to Great Weapon Fighter. But the thing is, crossbow I find is much easier to hit your targets with. Also, you don't get the penalty from low ground with Sharpshooter. So this and Crossbow Expert actually go together pretty well if you're going for more of a bow build. But what's nice about Sharpshooter is it applies, if you got hand crossbows, bing, bing, that's 20 damage extra that you got right there. So it works on the bonus action attacks as well. So if you got a rogue thief, multiple attacks, you can actually deal quite a bit of damage with Sharpshooter. It's really good. The damage, you can also toggle off the -5 and the damage. So if you're missing your shots, you got options. Shield Master. Another one that's just like, why bother? Shield Master's okay at times, I guess. I actually just think Shield Master belongs in F tier. Yeah, same as like taking the armor perks. It just doesn't benefit you much compared to like moderately armored. I guess I could move moderately armored up maybe to the top of that because it'll give you shield proficiencies as well. Skilled is another one. You just gain proficiencies. Kind of garbage. Like maybe C tier. Not awesome, but not something you want to pick. Spell Sniper sounds good on paper, but it's really not that awesome. I'll probably put it top of the C tier. So being able to roll it allows you to hit critical hits with your spells a little bit more frequently. However, most spells don't critical hit. Most spells have a saving throw. Most spells don't have an attack roll. The spells that do have attack rolls are like Magic Missile has you guaranteed to hit attack roll, so it would benefit from that. Scorch and Ray, cantrips. There's not many that have attack rolls, so they don't benefit from this very much overall. Tavern Brawler, S tier. That's probably one of the best. So what Tavern Brawler does is it takes your strength modifier, doubles it to your damage and attack rolls. So if you're fighting with a strength potion, gives you +8 to your strength, double that, so 16. Add that to your attack rolls, you're never missing, and you get a +16 to your damage. Crazy powerful. They made it broken in this game. Plus, it gives you a +1 to your strength or constitution, so even crazier. This is broken. Tavern Brawler makes for some really, really, really strong builds. Most notably the Monk, Open Hand Monk level 9 with 3 levels of Rogue Fighter. Boom. Or Rogue Thief. Boom. That's powerful. It also benefits to Druids in their wild shape form, especially the Myrmidon. So if you're going with a Moon Druid, you'll get proficiency in your unarmed attacks. So it's pretty good. Honestly, Tavern Brawler rocks. Tough. Extra 2 health per level. Now, one thing that I need to note about this is it only gives you the +2 health at the level that you get it. So if you take this perk at level 4, at level 5 you get the +2 health. That sucks. F tier. More health is always nice, but it just doesn't give you the amount of health that you want. Warcaster. I think this is pretty good. It helps you with maintaining, gives you advantage in Constitution saving throw proficiencies. So whenever you're holding a concentration on a spell, you'll have 2 dice rolled instead of 1, which is really nice. And you can cast Shocking Grasp as a reaction as a target moving out of focus. Shocking Grasp is really good because it stops the target from using reactions. And it's lightning damage, so it can be doubled. So if you have Create Water set up, you can do 48 damage with a reaction. That's busted. Weapon Master. Just take a level of fighter, for frig's sakes. Like, there's so many better options than doing that, honestly. I just think that Weapon Master is just not that good. So there you have it. There's the feats in Baldur's Gate 3 ranked on a tier list. Ability score increase, obviously the best. Tavern Brawler is overpowered. Alert, underrated. Not enough people talk about it. Sharpshooter, awesome. +10 to damage on crossbows, or bows in general is awesome. Dual wielder, +1 armor class, and the ability to add your proficiency bonus, great. And then the dynamic duo, Polearm Master and Sentinel. These are the best feats in Baldur's Gate 3. But let me know in the comments where you would rank these. If you found this video fun or useful, hit that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.